Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. We're gonna make a trench coat. Or we're gonna start making one, because this is gonna be a multi-part series. Yes, I read your comments and your critiques that you would like to see more of the pattern development instead of just how to sew stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. And I think a trench coat is the perfect project for that, as it has a lot of things that we have to do. So let's get right into it. I'm super excited, so let's go. I already made my first mock-up, or I sewed it together, because honestly it's really hard to show you how I pattern draft, because I do it all on the computer based off of models I already made. Obviously, to just skip a few fitting issues and having to, you know, do the general fitting of does this fit? Fitting, so many fitting words here. So I used my pattern for my boucle jacket Jeanette because I figured that would be a great base for my trench coat, as the pattern is already fitted perfectly to my size. It has exactly the shoulder width that I want, so that's something we can build our trench coat pattern off of. And that is what I already did. I changed a few things for what I already have in mind. I can show you my mock-up. For everybody who follows me on Instagram already has seen this. And yes, it's gonna be a pink or like a rose-colored trench coat. You can see the fabric here that I will be using, and I'm thinking about fusing the lighter pink to a like very aggressive fuchsia pink. The lighter pink is a synthetic suede and the darker pink is a cotton poplin, and these two together I think would work pretty well for a trench coat that is half lined. So we're gonna do a half lining for the upper portion of the trench coat, and yeah, that's basically the idea right here. So I made 3 different pictures so that you can just picture how they look in different ways of wearing them. So like one is closed, the other one is open, and then the back has, you know, one half has it with the belt and the other half is without the belt, just to have like a general picture of different styles of the same trench coat basically. So they're all the same, they're not like different models. And yeah, that's what we're going for. I already made a change to the length because that just does not work for my height. It just makes me look super small if I make it basically floor length. So I'm just gonna do the same length as my coat Anna, that you probably already know because it's like literally the coat I only wear throughout the whole winter. It's my favorite coat, and it's like about half calf. So just over the knee, and that's a good length for my body height. I'm a little under 170. So that's what we're gonna do for this trench coat as well. So a few things that I changed from, you know, from the boucle jacket Jeanette, which this is based off of. Obviously the collar and the lapel, it is wider and it is not the, you know, blazer shape that the jacket Jeanette has. It's just a rounded tip right here. Then I made a storm flap, which just is an element of a trench coat, so you know, it has to be there for my taste. Obviously, you don't need to make like typical trench coat elements to have a trench coat. You can design this however you'd like, but like the storm flap is one of the most typical elements of a trench coat, which is, you know, why I also included it. It also has the pendant to the front here in the back, which is actually called rain guard. I also learned that recently for when I was naming my pattern pieces. So this is the rain guard. This right here is the storm or gun flap. I will call it storm flap. And yeah, then I added box pleats throughout the whole lower part of the trench coat, which I already see right here that I want to put them up higher. There are pins in here just below the waistline, like 5 centimeters lower than the waistline, where I want to have my pleats start right here. So this is going to be like a really cute, voluminous, box pleated trench coat. I think that'll look really nice. And yeah, that's my first mock-up. Basically, I have a few things that I already want to change if I compare my drawing to my mock-up. So first thing is the storm flap has to be a bit shorter. I can see that already. And the box pleats have to be higher. I want to draw on my pockets so that I have a reference as to where I need to place them in my pattern when I like make my final pattern. And yeah, other than that, I have to put it on myself as well. Haven't done that yet, just have it on my dress form right now. If the sleeves are right and everything, but I did not change them really, so that should be fine. I have shoulder pads in here right now because I kind of want shoulder pads in my raincoat. I want to have like very structured and tailored shoulders. I don't want to have dropped shoulders because that's what I always go for, and I just want to have like actual shoulders because I think that'll look really, really put together and elegantly. So that's what I want to have here. So that's obviously why I put shoulder pads in my mock-up right now. I just pinned them in place, but that is a takeaway. If you ever fit something that has shoulder pads in the very end in the garment, fit it with the shoulder pads. It makes no sense otherwise. So that's that. And yeah, so let's actually go ahead and do some changes to this. So as I said before, I want my storm flap to sit higher. If I look at my drawing, it sits above the bust somewhere here and goes over here like this. I think where it ends right here in the collar point here is fine. It does not interfere with the fold line of your lapel and collar. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I kind of have to continue this height of my rain guard then in the back as well, which maybe I can lower it until like towards the center back a bit, because I kind of like the length of my rain guard, but I have to, you know, consider that it's just shorter in the front, which is fine. I think we can make it work like this. This should look also nice. Yeah, that's fine too. And then right here, the box pleats should begin somewhere here. And I think this seam here is not really at the actual spot. I think I want to just move it over a few centimeters towards the right, like 3 centimeters all the way down, just to have you know, a nicer line here. I think it all comes together too much like at that area, so it just needs to be a tiny bit more towards the side seam. And then I can add my pocket somewhere here. That's something I have to check when I'm wearing it. I'm gonna put it on in a second as well. I think that's almost already it. The only thing that I see that is not the same is the fold line of my lapel is in the drawing higher than in my actual mock-up, which is obvious because I used a blazer and that specific one just has a lower lapel that just comes down a bit lower. But maybe if we open the collar in the back, we can change the angle. Usually you don't do that because the construction just changes completely. But sometimes, if you're lucky, you can work with that this way. If you just open up your collar in the back. See, like that, and now it opened here like a centimeter. Obviously you have to, you know, you can't just only open this piece. The collar folds towards the inside and you have to open it up until that center point right here, but that's fine, should be doable. So I think we can change it easily like this. And then I have a dividing line here in my sleeve, which I'm just gonna change to it being like somewhere here. And I think it's okay if I put it on right now, actually. This is what it looks like. I think I want to also have like a belt. I don't have a mirror here, so I'm just literally looking at my phone that has the viewfinder on it. So I'm gonna go out in a second and look at myself in a mirror. But from what I can tell by looking into my viewfinder, it looks promising. I think the width is good generally, and if the pleats start like just here, somewhere just below the belt, I think it'll look also really elegant. I'm not sure about the storm flap. I mean, it's gonna be shortened anyway, but that I have to kind of sew it into the lapel a bit better instead of up here. I'm gonna have to play around with that, see where is like the smartest point to attach it. I think I approve. Let me check it in the mirror. Okay, I just checked. I have to kind of fiddle around with the color because it makes weird folds here, so let's actually go and do that. So one thing that I clearly need to do first is to cut down my storm flap. And then I also need to let this like end in the fold line there, not in that collar point, because it does weird things. So let's just pretend it's kind of more towards here, so it has strength here and it doesn't just like do weird things. And you can see how the collar does weird things up here. So what you can do for that is also cut into the shoulder portion, and you have to do that symmetrically on both sides, otherwise it's not gonna work, so that the outer perimeter just opens up, and that just makes the collar lay and sit better. And then you can see that it needs like almost 3 centimeters more. And I think what I will be doing here as well is lengthen the collar here in the back as well, because it lays just like 7 millimeters underneath the collar seam. And I think that's a little, I don't know, it's easy to get this, you know what I mean? So let's just lengthen it anyways, since we're like figuring the collar situation out here. So what I will be doing is just pitting fabric underneath that gap that opened there. Okay, and with that, the collar sits much better. I think that 1 centimeter should be enough to like cover everything and to have nothing peek out accidentally. And another thing that I want to do, I think I want to bring the shoulder in like a tiny bit, like let's say 1 centimeter. Let's do 1.2 centimeters, because I think it's just a tiny bit too much. It works with the blazer Jeanette just because it is such a stark contrast to the waist. But I think with this, it's better to have like less crazy of a shoulder, or like a padded shoulder. I hope this was insightful and you learned a little bit. And we're gonna see each other probably with the finished pattern, or if I just decide to do another mock-up, probably with the finished pattern, because I feel pretty confident in what we have right here. So actually I'm gonna show you right here, and with this setup, how I'm kind of changing the pattern. Like I do it on Adobe Illustrator for anybody asking. I get that question a lot, because just if I do a screen recording, it's messing it up sometimes. I'm actually gonna do that nevertheless, but just in case. It's actually not too crazy of a change because it pretty much fitted. But what I will be doing is changing the collar and the lapel. So let me just quickly do that. So basically what I'm doing, I'm putting these 2 pieces right on top because that's how they are sewn together. And then I'm first of all changing the fold line angle. So I measure the distance that I heightened it. I went up 8 centimeters. So I can just simply do that right here by going up 8 centimeters. And that changes, this is my fold line right here, the fold line already for me. And now I just basically need to add all of the changes to my collar, which is the small gaps that we did. So I'm gonna add the 5 millimeters to this right here, which means that I have to alter this angle. So I have a 90-degree angle right here and up here, so that once this lays on fold, it doesn't have any weird edges or anything. So it's just going to be a straight line continuing on to the, other side of the collar. And then we have to open up at the shoulder line. So like right here, somewhere here, it doesn't matter to be, like it does not have to be exact, because then we have to add another centimeter. We're gonna do this. Put it back in here, this should be about 1 centimeter, and smooth out everything else. And then also do the median of these 2. And it's probably good to have like this height, because I wanted to lengthen this 1 centimeter anyways. And that should be the changed color. So that's already it for my color. And it should still fit perfectly onto the lapel with all of the changes now in there. Okay, so I changed up the pattern, I printed it out already, and now I'm going to put everything together and cut it out. It is a big pattern, obviously, since it's a coat. Coats have a bigger pattern in of itself, but then it's also like a long pattern. So that's gonna be some work, but let's get right into it. Okay, I rarely drink iced coffee, but I had to make myself one because it is so hot. It has over 30 degrees and it's just not stopping. So iced coffee it is. And let's keep going. There's only one sheet that I have to cut out still. And then I am going to redo the mock-up just because I want to be 100% sure that this works and whatever I did is, you know, the grading and everything also works and everything fits together. So I'm definitely going to do another mock-up and then fit it again. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to start, you know, fusing the fabrics and continuing there. And probably all the sewing will be in the next part anyways, because I simply don't have time. So yeah, let's go. I finished my second mock-up. This is with all the changes that I did on the computer that I briefly explained. And I think that's it. I already checked how it looks like with the belt. So that's what it looks like with the belt, which I think looks pretty awesome. I mean, it looks like a doctor's coat at the moment. Like, obviously that's a bit weird, but other than that, I think the fit is really, really nice. I like the shoulder pads. Like, I like that I took like the shoulders in 1.2 centimeters. It just looks so much more fitted than what it used to be. I think in this type of garment here, it would have looked as if it were too big on me, but now I think it is perfect. And that's what it looks like from the back. As you can see, my rain guard is like this, which I think looks really nice and flattering as well. This is the side. It's a nice line from back to front. The pockets are gonna sit right here. So we're gonna have like the whole deal, and we're gonna put belt loops like right here. So I think we're done. I think we can start with fusing the fabrics together and then cutting out the pattern and actually sewing it. I'm probably going to start sewing in the next part of this series, as I don't know how long this video already is, probably not too long because I didn't film that much, but you know. So I'm super happy, I hope you are too, and we can get started on checking how much fabric you need, because that's a thing. I'm not going to fuse any more than I need, and also on fusing. So basically, for checking how much fabric you need, what I am doing, because I'm working on Illustrator and I have my pattern digitally, I am basically making a new canvas on Illustrator that has the measurements of fabric. So it's like 70 centimeters wide, and then however long I need it. So I'm adjusting the length of the fabric, and then I'm just gonna put each pattern piece that needs to be out of that fabric on top of that canvas and see how I can, you know, arrange everything and then how much fabric I actually need. Now, if you don't have that opportunity because you don't have Illustrator or you don't have a digital pattern, here's what you do. So you take a measuring tape. Usually I'm putting the 1 centimeter to the hem and then just measure up until your shoulders. which is in my case 125 centimeters. And then the sleeves are 60 centimeters plus a little bit, so let's say 70 centimeters. So let's sum it up and round it up. That's about 2 meters of fabric. So that's where you would go normally. But since this is an outer coat and it has like deep box pleats, you probably want to, you know, do double of that. So probably 4 meters is what I would estimate. I would technically do 5 meters because of the rain guard and the storm flap and the collar, and then there's a facing which you cannot forget, which is also like a big pattern piece. So I would do 5 meters. If I think about it, hopefully that's gonna be enough. I'm gonna like arrange the whole pattern on my, you know, canvas on Illustrator, and then I know exactly how much fabric I need, but I would estimate it to be around 5 meters. Due to the measurements of that. And that's it already for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of behind the scenes kind of prep work video, and we can continue, you know, sewing everything in the next parts. Probably it's not going to be like only 2 parts. I guess it's going to be about 3 or 4. Let's see. It's gonna be a big one, and I hope you're ready and as excited as I am. If you haven't already, please go ahead and click subscribe and ring the bell so you'll get notified every time that I post. I post on Sundays, so you can keep an eye out for that and, you know exactly when the next part drops. In the meantime, please check out my social media. Links are in the description below and hit follow there. I'm posting loads of stuff all around my projects, and on Instagram I'm doing like loads of reels with tips and tricks and stuff. So thank you so much for that. The most direct way to support me and keep videos just like this one coming is to head over to my Etsy store, where there will be, once the series is completed, also the pattern for the trench coat, obviously, so go ahead and check that out as well. There are so many other patterns in the meantime, so if you're interested, just head over there and you're directly supporting this channel and myself, so thank you so much. A special thank you to all of my channel members. You can get exclusive benefits through the link in the description down below, so thanks so much for that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!